Does your family have any rules? You know, the kind that you follow because that's what we've done for generations. Dinner at grandma's house on Sunday, no exceptions. Get your elbows off the table. No going outside after you bocha. Never name a street dog. They'll follow you forever. Our family rules have a way of informing us as people, whether we know it or not. Sometimes these rules come from strong tradition, deep hurt, unrealistic fear, or pure joy that we never would have known had we not taken a look into our family history. There is a rich journey to be taken while we explore the background of Disney's Coco, and I can't wait to take that with you today. You know, this article couldn't have come at a more perfect time as we are right in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month. As a nation, we get to collectively recognize the deep and rich influence of Hispanic Americans throughout our history and culture. At first glance, this movie is a celebration of the dead. It's through Mexican holiday that draws on indigenous and European roots. Dia de, Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. For many North American and Western viewers, this culture is unfamiliar. We simply see it as a bunch of skeletons and skulls and candles and memorials full of zinnias. As Christians, inside and outside of this traditional narrative, it gets tricky to figure out if and how to celebrate it. After all, death is serious. The reality is that this holiday is quite complex. In the time of the Spanish conquista, Roman Catholicism was imposed on native people through a variety of means. One, such as mixing Christian and pagan traditions. Now, we can't get into the details here, and I am by means no expert. But we also can't reject these 2 days of celebration because they're unfamiliar or because death scares us. In fact, as Christians, death shouldn't scare us. It has already been conquered. 1 Corinthians 15:55 and 58 says, "O death, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting?" The sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to God who gives us victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Death was conquered by Jesus. It wasn't by any offering we gave. It wasn't by our good deeds in life. It wasn't by what we could leave behind as a legacy. It was by the only one who could take away its sting for good. So yes, Coco is about the celebration of the dead. And there are some elements that don't align with what we believe happens after death or the afterlife. But we can take a deeper look into it, and we can see that what this film is celebrating is the life of those that they loved and lost. Every year, the beautiful ofrendas would be adorned with pictures of those that they had lost. All four elements, wind, fire, earth, water, would be displayed within the ofrenda. And families would be flooded with memories of all kinds, good, bad, and otherwise. What I love about Coco is that although we often turn to Miguel, the young boy who we journey with throughout the whole film. The character for which the movie is named is his great-grandma, Grandma Coco. She's the silent star. In Mexican tradition, the family structure is matriarchal. The women run the household. They take care of finances. They perpetuate the family trade. They make decisions. They keep order. They carry on the legacy from generation to generation. In Coco, we see Abuelita running everything with her chancla, her slipper. And she was the granddaughter of Mama Imelda, head of the Riviera family. Her red lipstick and her heels and her dress just had a regality about it. She was the pillar of their family and tradition, and she loved her family so much that she would do whatever it took for them not to experience the pain that she had in life. And this is where that family rule came from. No music. You would see them shut the door to any time they would hear music come into the house. But a love of music ran deep within Miguel, and he struggled with this family rule. He said things like, "We're the only family in Mexico who hates music. And if he could play music, maybe I could too." But he would also say things like, "I need to get my great-grandmother's blessing. Can you get me a guitar? And I want to prove that I am worthy." And in these words, we're given a tip of the iceberg, a sneak peek into the collectivist culture and the society that these family rules and that these traditions are steeped in. It was for the sake of the family name. It wasn't about what he wanted, even though he wanted it so badly. His journey throughout the afterlife is about getting the blessing of his family, the ones who have gone before him, the ones that he thought were his family that weren't, and the ones that he would return home to if he got back. Now, if you've seen the movie, you know he does get back. And it's his music that brings Grandma Coco to life in her final span before death. The music resonates deep within her and reminds her of the little girl that she once was. It reminds her of her papa, who was a musician himself. And it's this legacy and this joy that we see come out of her and into her that she carries into the afterlife. And it was revived within her family that she left behind. It's the theme that we see throughout the whole film, that music connects individuals to their families and culture. Now, notice that it wasn't enough that Miguel had discovered and that he had reconciled. He had to bring it back to Grandma Coco, who could then remind Abuelita, who could give permission to Miguel's mama, and could eventually pass it down to his little sister, we assume. So this movie is not just a look into the afterlife, but it's a reminder of the legacies that we get to live while we're still here on earth. These are the things that we get to cultivate day in and day out. These are the things that our family will remember us for, and they'll talk about when they're sitting and looking back at old pictures, and they'll pass on to their children for generation after generation. So today, as we look and we think about honoring family through Coco, and we see them celebrating the dead, and we think about this legacy, we invite you to this space of, what are we going to leave behind? What are we cultivating today? And how are we passing it on to others?